In this video, we're going to see how we can update attachments in ArcGIS Online. So open up the update attachments.py script from the attachments folder. We can update attachments, which can be useful if you want to rename attachments or resize. An update is basically an overwrite of an existing attachment. The attachment manager has an update method, which we're going to head over to documentation for now and check it out. Here we have the update method for the attachment manager, and it updates an existing attachment with a new file. There are three required parameters. We need the OID, which is the object ID of the feature that contains the attachment. We need the attachment ID so we can target the specific attachment to update. And we have the file path, which is path to the file to be uploaded as the updated feature attachment. An update is basically an overwrite. Let's head back to the script. Up top, we are importing our GIS class for accessing ArcGIS Online, and we're also going to make use of the OS module from the standard Python library to help out with file paths. We first access ArcGIS Online using our GIS class and supplying in our home string. We'll assign our GIS object to a variable called AGOL. We'll then use our GIS object and access the content manager and use the get method supplying in our feature service item ID, which I'll paste in now. The get method will return an item object. From that item object, we can access our feature layers through the layers property, which returns a list of feature layer objects. We are interested in the second feature layer object, which is our park trails feature layer. We'll assign our feature layer object to a variable called FL. We're going to set a root folder for the attachments to use in this update. So we can set a root directory, and that is our downloads folder. In the previous video, we downloaded all our attachments for the park trails feature layer, and the attachments were placed in folders based on the trail name attribute. Inside each trail name folder, we have subfolders that are named based on the attachment ID, and each attachment sits inside its own folder. We want to iterate over all the attachments in our downloads folder and add a suffix of underscore checked to each JPEG file. We've gone through each attachment and checked it that there is no inappropriate or offensive images in there, and these images are now approved. Go back to our script. Because our folder names are named the same as the trail name attribute, we're going to create a dictionary where the key is the trail name and the value is the object ID. Here we are using dictionary comprehension. So for each feature returned from our feature layer query, where we're only querying out the object ID and trail name, we want to create a dictionary where the key is the trail name and the value is the object ID for that feature of that trail name. We're going to use the os.walk method to iterate over our folders and into our subfolders so we can access each individual downloaded attachment. For each file, if the file ends with JPEG and has not got underscore checked in the file, we're going to get the current file path, and we're going to then create a new file path where underscore checked has been added to the name of the file. So we're going to have the current file path, which we set as old path, and a new path because we're going to want to rename our attachments. We use the OS rename method, supplying in our old path and our new path to rename the attachment to have the underscore checked tag. From our folder structure, we want to get the trail name and the attachment ID. So for trail name, for example, we'll get FDM trail, and for attachment ID, we'll get 1. This will allow us to target the correct attachment to update in our feature layer. Now we want to update the attachment. So we call our feature layer object and we access the attachment manager through the attachment property, and we call the update method. We saw there was 3 required parameters. The first is OID, and we can grab the OID from our dictionary. So we call our OID dict, and we're supplying in the trail name. And that will return the object ID for the correct feature in our feature layer. We have the attachment ID from the folder structure, and we have our file path as the newly renamed attachment. For each attachment, we are going to print the trail name and the attachment ID, and we'll also print the status to screen returned from the update method. Before running, I'll go over to ArcGIS Online. We'll just show some of the current names. So we're going to be adding an underscore checked to each and every attachment that we are updating. We'll head back to the script and let's run. Our script is complete. Let's take a look at what was printed to the Python interpreter. We printed the trail name and the attachment ID. So we're updating attachment ID of 1 in our FDM trail feature. We can see that update attachment result was true, and it was returned true for each and every attachment that we were updating. We head back over to ArcGIS Online. I'm going to refresh the page. Go back into the Park Trails feature layer, and now we can see that our attachments have been renamed. Now you could have done other processing on the images. You might have reduced the size, might have edited them. Here we simply renamed them and then updated each attachment. Make sure to continue on to the next video in this series, and also make sure to subscribe. Take care.